You open your eyes and see nothing, not darkness like a closed room. Total, complete black, the kind where you can't even tell if your eyes are open. The last thing you remember is walking into a cave entrance with a small group and then nothing. You sit up slowly and pain shoots through your shoulder. Your ears are ringing, and when you reach out, your hands touch only cold, damp stone in every direction. Somewhere along the way, you got separated from everyone else. As your mind clears, the situation becomes obvious. You're deep inside a cave system, completely alone, with no light, no phone signal, and no idea which direction leads back out. Panic right now would be the most dangerous thing you could do. In a situation like this, the first and most important skill isn't finding a way out, it's controlling your own breathing and thinking clearly before moving at all. Before moving anywhere, you carefully check yourself over for injuries. Your shoulder is bruised but not broken, and aside from a few scrapes, you're mostly intact, which, given the fall you must have taken, feels like pure luck. Cave darkness isn't like nighttime darkness. With no moon, no stars, and no ambient light at all, your eyes never adjust no matter how long you wait. Without some kind of light source, every single step becomes a gamble. You start patting down your pockets, hoping for anything that could help. A phone, a lighter, even a single match could completely change your situation right now. Your phone's battery is nearly dead, but it still has a small flicker of charge left. You know better than to waste it scrolling for a signal that isn't coming. Instead, you save it, planning to use the flashlight only in short, careful bursts. You allow yourself a few seconds of light to scan your immediate surrounding. What you see isn't comforting: narrow passages branching off in multiple directions, and no obvious sign of which one leads anywhere useful. Picking a direction at random here would be a mistake. Instead, you decide to use your other senses first, starting with something that just might point you toward a way out without wasting any more battery at all. Somewhere in the distance, you hear it. A faint, steady dripping sound. It's subtle, but it's the first real clue you've had since waking up, and you decide to follow it. Finding water isn't just about thirst, though that matters too. Underground water sources often connect to larger passages or even openings to the surface, since water always finds the lowest, most connected path through a cave system. After what feels like a long, careful walk in total darkness, your hand finally touches something different: cold, flowing water. You kneel down, cup your hands, and drink carefully, relief washing over you for the first time since you woke up. With water no longer an immediate worry, your priority shifts. Following the stream downhill makes sense, since flowing water in a cave system almost always eventually leads toward a lower exit or opening somewhere. As you move deeper, you notice the air growing steadily cooler and more humid. Caves tend to hold a constant cool temperature no matter what season it is outside, which is useful to know, but also makes staying warm a real concern. The tunnel suddenly narrows, forcing you to turn sideways just to keep moving forward. For a moment, the space feels impossibly tight, and your chest tightens with something closer to real fear than anything you've felt so far. Your instinct is to panic, but panic in a space this tight only wastes precious air and energy. You force yourself to slow your breathing, taking one small, deliberate movement at a time instead of thrashing forward. After several tense minutes, the passage finally widens again, and you stumble forward into a slightly larger chamber. Your heart is pounding, but you made it through without losing your nerve completely. Once you catch your breath, you remember something important. Moving air in a cave usually means a connection to the outside world somewhere. You hold your hand up, feeling carefully for even the faintest breeze. There it is, a faint, cool current of air, barely noticeable but unmistakable once you focus on it. You decide to follow it, trusting that moving air has to be coming from somewhere connected to the surface. As you walk, a strange, fluttering sound begins echoing somewhere ahead. It's rhythmic, almost like fabric flapping in a light wind, and it's getting louder the further you go. A brief flash of your phone light reveals the source: hundreds of bats clinging to the ceiling of a large chamber just ahead. Your first instinct is fear, but you remind yourself that these bats are far more interested in avoiding you than in causing any harm. Then something clicks. Bat colonies like this almost always exist near cave openings, since the bats themselves need to fly out regularly to feed. Their presence here might actually be the best clue you've found yet. You move slowly and quietly along the edge of the chamber, careful not to startle startle the colony into a chaotic mass flight. Step by step, you make your way past them, eyes fixed on the direction they seem to be gathering toward. Just past the bat chamber, you notice something you haven't seen since you woke up. The faintest hint of a light, barely more than a shift in the darkness ahead. It's small, but after everything so far, it feels enormous. Between you and that light, though, is a steep, rocky slope covered in loose, unstable stones. One wrong step here could send you sliding, or worse, trigger a small rock fall in a space with no room to escape it. You take the climb slowly, testing each foothold before trusting it with your full weight. It's exhausting and nerve-wracking, but rushing here would be far more dangerous than moving slowly. Near the top, a loose stone gives way beneath your foot, and you slide a short distance before catching yourself hard against the rock. Your palm is scraped and bleeding, but nothing feels seriously injured. You tear a small strip of fabric from your sleeve and wrap it tightly around your palm to slow the bleeding. It's not much, but it's enough to keep moving without leaving a trail of blood on every surface you touch. Finally, you pull yourself over the top of the slope, and the faint gray light is noticeably brighter now. Whatever is causing it, you're clearly getting closer, and that thought alone gives you a fresh burst of energy. It's been hours now, and your stomach reminds you sharply that you haven't eaten anything at all. Food isn't your biggest problem yet, but you know that without it, your energy and focus will only get worse the longer this takes. At this point, physical strength matters less than mental endurance. You remind yourself that people have survived far longer than this in situations far worse, and that panic, not hunger, is still the bigger threat right now. A new sound reaches you, louder, more chaotic than the earlier dripping water. This sounds like a fast-moving underground current, and you know instinctively that it needs to be treated with real caution. Rather than risk crossing the fast current directly, you search the edges of the passage for a safer route around it. It takes longer, but a twisted ankle or a fall into that current here could end your chances completely. Along the way, you start paying closer attention to small details: the direction water flows, the patterns of mineral deposits on the walls, and which passages feel more traveled than others. Every clue matters when you have no map at all. At one fork in the tunnel, you try something new. You call out a single short word and listen carefully to how the echo returns. A tighter, closer echo suggests a small dead end, while a longer, more open echo suggests more a space ahead. Based on the longer, more open echo, you choose the passage on the right, trusting the small amount of evidence you've gathered. It's not certainty, but at this point, an educated guess is far better than standing still. Minutes later, the gray light you noticed earlier has become unmistakably brighter, tinged now with a faint hint of warm gold. Your pace quickens without you even deciding to speed up. You round a final bend and see it clearly for the first time, a narrow crack high in the rock ceiling, with real daylight spilling through. It's not a full opening, but it's proof that the surface is close. As you get closer, it becomes clear the crack itself is too narrow and too high to climb through safely. It's disappointing, but you remind yourself this still confirms you're moving in exactly the right direction. Instead of stopping, you continue along the passage, keeping the direction of that light source in mind as your guide. If daylight is reaching this far underground, a real opening has to be somewhere nearby. The tunnel begins widening steadily, and the air feels noticeably fresher with every step. You can hear faint sounds now too, wind, maybe even distant birds, sounds that could only be coming from the world outside. Every step now feels different, lighter somehow, driven by the growing certainty that the end of this is finally close. The gold light ahead has turned into something unmistakable, a genuine cave exit. You step out of the cave entrance, and the sunlight hits you so directly it's almost painful. After so many hours in total darkness, you shield your eyes, breathe in real open air, and for a moment just stand there absorbing that it's actually over. You turn and look back at the dark cave entrance behind you. Hard to believe that just hours ago you were completely lost somewhere deep inside it. Whatever happens next, you made it out entirely on your own. Looking back, it wasn't luck that got you out. It was a handful of simple decisions: staying calm, conserving your only light source, following water and airflow instead of guessing randomly. All of it added up. Most real cave survival stories share this exact pattern. The people who make it out are rarely necessarily the strongest or the fastest, but the ones who stay calm enough to think clearly. That single skill matters more than almost anything else underground. This channel is built entirely around scenarios exactly like this one, dropping you into a survival situation and walking through exactly what it would actually take to make it out alive. Subscribing means you won't miss the next one. Let me know in the comments what you would have done differently in this situation, and if there's a survival scenario you want covered next. That's exactly the kind of thing this channel wants to dig into. One wrong turn and you could have been trapped down there for days. Instead, calm thinking, a little water, and a colony of bats pointed you back toward the light. See you in the next scenario.